Good morning, my beautiful people. I am so excited about today. Today is Friday, June 10th. We are at the halfway point of this year, and so very many exciting things have been occurring this year. And I want to, all this year, I've been talking about self care because self care is so important. And so I have been beating the drum of self care all throughout the year in my newsletters, on my lives, on my pages. I've been talking about how to take care of yourself so that you can make the best of your life. Well, I was talking to my friend Stacy Kaplan this week, and she gave me another term that I love and I embrace. She started talking about self stewardship. I said, wow, Stacy, self stewardship. I like that. Let's dig into that. Let's talk about self stewardship a little bit because guess what? Um, Self stewardship is all about how we take care of ourselves or how we govern over. Now, I went to the dictionary and I looked up the definition of stewardship. And stewardship have both natural meanings and it have spiritual meanings. And so the natural meaning of stewardship, it says that according to Merriam-Webster, stewardship is the conducting, supervising, managing or managing of something, especially the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. Now, that is a good definition. And then it goes on to talk about how good stewards are committed to selfless service. Good stewardship good stewards believe in sustainability. Good stewards practice inclusiveness. Good stewards embrace innovation and change. And good stewards are team players and they're quick to give credit to others. Those are all wonderful definitions. But I would really like to take a look at stewardship from a biblical standpoint. And so, starting out in Genesis, the second chapter, it says, the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. The drive here was to serve mankind in the garden or to superintend over everything that God had given him. So, for those that are spiritual, I'm just going to take you there for a minute. Those that are not, bear with me because God created everything in 6 days. He put man in the garden. He gave man the authority over it, and he gave him a job. He said, "Name these animals, name the vegetation, name everything." And he gave him the responsibility and the authority over it. So you might say, what does this have to do with self stewardship? Are we not responsible for ourselves? Are we not responsible for our bodies? Are we not responsible for the things that have been entrusted to us? Now, regardless of what your spiritual beliefs are and whether you have spiritual beliefs or not, you are responsible for your body. And so, one of the things that I spent time yesterday doing was making sure that all of my previous newsletters were on my website. So that if you want to get the the archives of the newsletters, all you have to do is go to the website, click a button, and you can read it. But as I was reviewing some of those um, newsletters, I began to see that theme of how important it is for us to stop and take care of ourselves because we are stewards over our own bodies. We are to be the caretakers of our body. And so one of my newsletters talked about what's in your fridge. And it talked about how sometimes we eat emotionally, how when we get stressed, we overeat or we eat things that are not necessarily healthy to our bodies. Or on the flip side, some people get stressed and they say, "Oh, girl, I was so stressed out, I forgot to eat." Well, let me just tell you, that's never been my testimony. I have never been so stressed out that I forgot to eat, as evidenced by the fact that I am a fluffy girl and loving every minute of it. But I said that to say we are in control of our entire being. along with our connection with God, because he created us. He is the manufacturer of this body, and he knows how everything is supposed to work. He gave us the stewardship over our lives and over our bodies. So, starting first with our bodies, and this is not going to be a long laugh today. I'm going to hit it and quit it and keep it moving so that you can go on with your day. He gave us this body. He made this body like a fine oiled machine. One body fitly joined together. Finger can't be a toe, eyeball can't be, a tongue, none of that stuff. Everything has its divine purpose. But what he also gave us is the responsibility to make sure that this body is functioning the way that it's supposed to function, by putting in healthy foods, by moving our body. Like my girlfriend Nisha said, she said, we got to move that meat. And whether you partake in a full-blown exercise regimen or not, our bodies were not designed to be couch potatoes. We were designed to move our bodies. That's why we have shoulder joints, elbow joints, knee joints, toe joints, finger joints. That's why we have all of these joints, because they are intended to move. Then our mind, our thoughts, our emotions. Our emotions can be a runaway train if we don't get control of them. Do things happen that derail us sometimes? Absolutely. Do multiple things happen at the same time to try to completely throw us off the track and not just derail a little bit of it? Absolutely. But we have to get control of our emotions. We have to stop and think, what's the worst thing that can ever happen? Or what's the worst thing that ever happened? I have recently been dealing with some uncomfortable areas of my life. I'll just say it like that. And I had to deal with some real me stuff. Now, I'm a coach, I'm a counselor, I'm a consultant. I help people recognize their issues and help them to get to a place of resolve. But how many of you all know that I can't help people get to their place of resolve if I don't resolve my own issues? Being a coach, a counselor, or a consultant is not the equal sign to perfection. It just means that I have a couple of more tools in my toolbox than maybe the next person. And my job is to help pass those tools along to someone else, because I have found that they work. I have different tools for different situations. You know, uh, Miles Monroe said many years ago, when the purpose of something is unknown, abuse is inevitable. Yes, can we take a shoe and use it as a hammer to hammer in a nail? We absolutely could. And guess what? It'll work. But was that the intention of that shoe? That was the intention of the hammer. So you go into the toolbox and you get the hammer, or you get the tool that you need for a particular thing. Why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this because we have to be good self stewards. We have to make sure that those things that we are responsible for, our mind, our bodies, our emotions, our will, and everything else that have been entrusted to us, that we take good care of it. I think about parenting. I have 4 natural children, biological children, and all of them are very different. All of them are very precious. I don't know what life would be like without them. But I couldn't birth that baby and then sit them on the sidewalk and expect them to take care of themselves, because I was the steward of them. I had to make sure that they had the best breast milk, which meant that I had to take care of my body so that what the natural things, or the things that I was putting in my body, would get to my baby and make them healthy. Now, I know that was a little bit a little bit too graphic for some of you all, but I just wanted to make that point of good self stewardship. We have to make sure that when our thoughts get off, that we have to do what we need to do to regulate our thoughts. When our body is not feeling well, if we know what to do, we have to make sure that we do it. If we don't know what to do, or if we don't know what's wrong, we need to make sure that we go to a doctor so that they can help us to diagnose what the issue is. Now, Your diagnosis is not who you are. And whether you decide that you'll take medicine or not take medication, that's totally up to you. But I always say, I'm gonna go to the doctor and I'm gonna let them know, or I'm gonna have them to let me know what's not functioning optimally. So number one, I'll know how to pray. Number two, I know how to adjust my lifestyle. And so that being said, I'm going to continue talking about how to take good care of yourself and how to keep you healthy, mind, body, and spirit. But I also wanted to introduce the concept, one of those blooper moments, the concept of self stewardship, because you are ultimately responsible for what you are, and for not for what you are, but how you function, and take control of your mind, your body, and your spirit. And so this is Dr. Ruby live today, just giving you a couple of tips on self stewardship. As always, I want to invite you to subscribe to my newsletter if you're interested in receiving my weekly newsletter. And again, I've talked about a lot about self-care, and not just from one standpoint. If you have not been receiving the newsletters, now you have the opportunity to go to my to my website, click on the tab that says archive newsletter, and all of the topics are there, all 15 of them so far. And then if you like what you see there, and I hope you do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter. We promise that we will not bombard your email several days a week with emails. That's one of my pet peeves. I don't like to clutter people's email boxes, because I have so many different emails, and sometimes it's a little bit unwieldy to try to, to get all of them taken care of. But in any event, subscribe to the newsletter. If you need more tips on how to become a self steward, I'm more than willing to give you a free 30-minute session, just to kind of help you process through some things. And if you need further intervention, or if you need further help, I'm more than willing to give you the help that you need. So make sure that if this live has been inspirational to you, go ahead and share it on your page. Go ahead and pass it along to someone else. By all means, if you love and care about yourself and your friends, subscribe to the newsletters, schedule a 30-minute discovery call. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to offer you help. That's all. And this is Dr. Ruby signing off. I'll see you in 2 weeks.